Hello, my name is Xander from Terrytown. Welcome to your Jayco 267 VHS. First things first, it is going to be a little bit windy out, so I'm going to try my best to block as much as possible. But I'm just going to get started. Right up front, this is going to be your power tongue jack, so you have to retract and extend there, on and off light. And then since it says electric, just in case this does electrically go out, you can pop this tab off, insert a tool, which is going to be the same tool that you use to crank or stabilize your jacks. But you just stick that right inside there, and that is going to be basically give you access to manually override it. Right behind here, for your propane tanks, with this little regulator switch here, whatever way this piece is pointing to, this can be the supply that you're taking from. So of course it's pointed this way, as you can see. It's going to be taking propane from this tank, and vice versa, that side, that tank. Moving on, got your pass-through storage here. Got your outside shower, which is going to contain a hot, cold side of the faucet, and then of course your shower head and hose all inside here. This is your city water connections. When you do get to a campground, this is what you're going to want to plug into. It's going to give you your main source of water. Just below here is going to be your sewer system. So you're going to have your gray tank on your left and your black tank on your right. So what you are going to, or what I do recommend, is doing your black tank first, just because that's the dirtiest water. So of course it's going to be solids and whatnot. So just go ahead, open up that black tank there. All I do is just grab that little handle and pull it out. Let it drain. Once it's done draining, leave that open. Come up to this right here. This is your black tank flush. This black tank flush is going to be basically, it's pretty self-explanatory, just a flush to kind of help flush everything out of your black tank. So it just activates a small sprinkler inside the system, which once again helps flush out. Going along with that, when you're done, take the hose out, close your black tank, and then open your gray tank. The reason why I recommend doing your gray tank last is just because it gives your little hose one last little flush before you go ahead and put your hands back on there. Also, right behind here is going to be your low point drains, if I can get that right there. Hot and cold lines. Cable and satellite input here. Here is your camp power or shore power right here. Just plug that right into the campground post. Just up here, you got your backup camera ready. And then down here, you're going to have your water heater. So with this, you just take this little piece here, insert that there. I'm obviously only gonna kind of put it on just for visual purposes, but you're gonna wanna make sure it's nice and tight. Once that's tight, go to the inside of your camper and turn on the hot side of your faucet. That is going to sputter just for a little bit, and once it has a steady flow, that means all the air is pushed out of your tank and you're ready to turn this on and use it. So once again, tighten down, go to the inside, make sure it's the hot side is on and has a steady flow, then go ahead and turn this on. When it comes time to empty it, go ahead and pull this pressure release valve here. It's gonna hiss just because it's releasing all the pressure. So once you do get done with that and it's done hissing, go ahead, take your socket, whatever, pull this piece out, and then the water will then just drain straight out of there. When you're done and all the water's out, pot that down and go ahead and close it right back up. Right here, small outside kitchen, refrigerator, everything like that. Moving along to this side, you're going to have your furnace exhaust. So when your heat is on, all the excess heat is going to be kicking out of here. So for little kids, animals, just keep them away, especially when this is on. Cable satellite antenna output for a TV, just in case you do decide to set one out here. Here's your 110 outlets and everything. Just below that is going to be your fresh tank. So one example that I'm going to give you is the only time you're really going to need to use a fresh tank is if you're rustic camping. So let's say you're going to a national park and you need water because you're not going to have city water connection. Go ahead, fill this up right outside the national park, take it in with you. So that means you will be able to have running water while you're not hooked up. All you gotta do is turn on the water pump, and that pump will then draw water from that tank and push it through your lines. Now just under here is going to be that tank flush, so you just open that up right there, and then it's going to drain the rest of your fresh tank out. Side view cameras and your starter pack and stabilizer jack crank. Starter pack, this is going to be your sewer hose right behind here, which they decided to pitch in, which your salesman will go over with you. Right here, 25-foot drinking hose, and then a 110 adapter. So if you do decide to plug it in your house to start cooling your fridges or something like that, you are able to go ahead and do that. Moving along here to your steps, make sure your door is completely open. Pull the blue tab so that little white piece gets out of the way. And if at any point you do need to move your legs, you just press these buttons down and move it up and down. Or you just pull like this, grab, and gently place down. Make sure it is almost completely flush on either side, because if it's not and it's raised up and you go to slam your door, it will actually dent the bottom of it. Otherwise, that's going to be the outside portion for you. Now moving indoors, you're going to have all of your little power panels here. So you're going to have your indoor lights and then your awning light as well. Slide in and out, so I'm just going to move that out for you. And then right as it gets close to the end, it's going to make a little funky noise, which sounds scary, but it's normal. So once you hear that little gear grinding noise, you know you're fully extended. That just means that the motor is then reaching its limit. So you're going to have your awning in and out here. The main thing with that is that you are going to want to pay attention to is that the awning, you'll be able to see the end of it, which I'll explain more when it starts to fall out. Once you see the end of the awning and then the black bar sitting on behind it, just go ahead and let go, because that means it is the end of the awning. So there's the end of the awning, and there's the black piece it's on behind it. The reason why you do not want to keep reeling it out, because it does not stop on its own. So if you do keep on reeling it, it's going to end up reeling in the opposite way, and then since it is going the opposite way, eventually it'll break. Now that's in. Right down here is going to be all of your readers. So what I mean by that is when you press down a button, it tells you, it basically just reads the tank it's in and tells you how full they're getting. So fresh tank, black tank, and gray tank, and then you also have your battery switch on the far left here. Otherwise, you have your water pump. So what I mentioned before is with that fresh tank, if you ever need to access it, you just flip that switch there. Otherwise, you have two elements to your water heater, gas and electric, so whichever one you choose. Depends if you want to waste gas or whatnot, but if you're plugged into shore power, then I recommend just doing electric. Otherwise, down here is going to be your carbon monoxide detector. Going along with that, that green light is always going to be on, just to show it's on, because it's going to always stay on as a safety feature. So what I mean by that is that it's never going to turn off, just to keep it safe, obviously, and always keep detecting. Otherwise, so what you're going to want to do with that is if you're going to leave your camper for about 3 to 4 days, just go ahead and take the negative end off of your battery so that small little green light doesn't actually kill your battery. Otherwise, right over here, got your radio, tap to turn on. Got your volume here, channel select left and right there. And then you are going to have zone 1, inside speakers, zone 2, outside speakers. You can turn them both on or off, or tap just the top right for mute. Otherwise, you have your Bluetooth, AM, FM, aux, pause, play. If you need to equalizer, just tap the middle and keep tapping. You can see how it all changes there. And then you have your USB and HDMI there. Otherwise you just tap and hold. I'll say stand by, and then it turns off. Here are your keys. These silver ones are going to be for everything, so main doors, baggage doors, stuff like that. Then for your outside shower, these small little black ones here. Microwave, if you don't know how to use it, you just press whatever time you want on here, and it cooks it for how long. Otherwise, it's pretty self-explanatory. Of course, it's new microwaves. Just decide not to work, but that's that. Down here, you have your light and fan. Light on, you press, turn to the pilot symbol, and then you go ahead, spark to the right, and then they ignite. Same goes for the other ones here. For the oven, you're gonna wanna pay attention to this small little piece right back there. That little silver piece is your igniter. So you're basically just gonna do the exact same thing that you did with this. You press, turn to the pilot symbol there, keep sparking until you see a small flame appear in the back of the oven, and then go ahead and turn to your desired temperature. And then moving down here, breakers and fuses. All your breakers are gonna be labeled just like a house would be. And then for your fuses, I do recommend bringing some extras, but that's just a personal recommendation. For your fridge, just tap to hold on. Sorry, hold to turn on. The higher the number, the colder it gets. So for this, it's for the fridge. For this, it's for the freezer. So whatever you decide to choose. And that's nighttime mode. It just kind of makes it quieter. It's not a huge purpose for it, just being honest, but that just makes it quieter. So when it's at night, it's not gonna beep as loud. Otherwise, this way. Thermostat, you just keep tapping. You have fan settings, cool settings, and furnace settings. Once again, off. I'll just go with them another time. Auto, cool, and furnace. So cool is obviously your AC, and furnace is going to be your heat. Up and down arrows for temperature. Obviously choose to whatever you'd like to. Otherwise, for your toilet, it's just gonna be a foot flush. The main two things you're gonna need with that is RV grade toilet paper and toilet solution. With those, that'll make sure all the smells, solids, everything breaks down and cuts out, and make sure it's all flushes nice and easy for you. The last thing with your AC, when this is open, it's just going to be a dump, so all the AC is going to fly right out of here. But if you do decide, so here's an example. When you get to a campground, open this up, blows down, it'll start to cool off the main area of your camper. When it comes time and starts to cool down, just go ahead, close that. So it'll decide to close, there we go. And then once that's closed, the AC will then duct out and start to come out of vents like this that you can open and then choose around or point whatever direction you need them to. Otherwise, the last thing, you're gonna have your TV mount in the bedroom along with the inputs needed. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for that. Otherwise, that has really been your orientation. If you do have any questions, please write them down, email them back to me, or go ahead and email your salesperson. Otherwise, besides that, we'll do the best we can to answer those for you, and hope you enjoy your orientation.